Hey, what's up guys, this is David here. I just want to make a video and show all the mods and stuff that I've done to my 2006 Lexus IS350. Currently, as of June 29, 2022, as far as from what I could see, this is the fastest naturally aspirated IS350 that I could find. I've looked up on Google, I looked up on forums, I looked up on Facebook, Instagram, anywhere that I could find, and I couldn't find anyone to tell me, or I've seen a time slip of a faster naturally aspirated IS350. And I specify naturally aspirated, I mean it's all motor, no nitrous, no turbo, no supercharger, just full bolt-on. And this is the fastest one that has done the fastest quarter mile, fastest 8 mile, fastest 0 to 60, and the 60 to 130, all timed using Dragy. I mean, if you guys haven't heard of Dragy, you should really look it up. It's really accurate from like reviews that I've seen about the Dragy, like people comparing it to drag strip times, and like seeing there's only like a hundredth of a second difference, so it's pretty accurate. So my fastest quarter mile I've done in this car was at 12.8 flat, 12.80 at 108 miles per hour. The fastest 8 mile I've done is 8.27 at, I think, 86 miles per hour. And the fastest 0 to 60 was 4.51 seconds. And the fastest 60 to 130 is 13.92 seconds. Those are like the things I like to really like compare and test out on this car. So on the mods that I have for performance mods, since we're talking about my time slips and all that, the performance mods I have, well, I don't have it anymore, but I have PPE headers. I have the Josie exhaust. I have the S-Sport intake and R racing tune. So when I did my runs to get my fastest times I can, I removed all the seats except for the driver's seat, of course, and I also put an E30 blend in it, which means I waited basically till the tank was basically empty. I put 2 gallons of was it 2 or 3? I'm not sure. 2 gallons of premium gas and then 1 gallon of E85. I mean, but based on my like research, that will give me like about like an E30. Maybe, you know, more or less, but it's about there. And I ran it. I only put a couple just so I could just get it out really quick, because I'm not sure these cars could properly safely run with E85 in the tank. So I just want to take the risk, or I just put a little bit just so I get my times and just finish off the gas as soon as possible, just so it doesn't mess with my engine or my fuel system. So yeah, just when I got those times, I had to do all of that to be able to get the fastest time out of this car. The total weight that was removing the passenger seat, the back seats, the spare tire and all the jack and stuff like that, was about like around 100 pounds removed. That actually made the biggest difference. The E30 like improves my time like by a tenth of a second. But removing the 100 pounds actually like made a pretty big difference in a lot of things. Like in the 60 to 130, which is where I really like to, that really shows the performance of the car. Because like if you do like a quarter mile, 8 mile, 0 to 60, like it just shows, like that really just shows if you get a good launch. That's all that really matters. But when you do 60 to 130, it shows how fast the car is, because it isn't as dependent on a good launch, because obviously there's no launch. So in the 60 to 130, removing just the seats and the spare tire and all that, removing the 100 pounds, it cut my the 60 to 130 by like over half a second. That would make the biggest difference. Like if you really want to get your best time and you're like recording it, I would suggest removing the seats, or removing the seats are easy to remove. It took me like 10 minutes to remove them, because that's the majority of the weight that's being saved, especially the passenger seat. The passenger seats, the driver's seat and the passenger seat each weigh about like 50 pounds just in those slopes. So if you have racing seats that are like lightweight, you're shaving off 100 pounds just from those 2 seats basically. All right, so now the handling mods that I have I've run BC Racing coilovers with Swiss springs. The spring rate is 12K in the front and 10K in the back. These ride pretty good. They handle really good in the canyons. I go to the canyons pretty often, and they handle really good. I wish I would have gotten 14, just because you see how my I have a lot of wheel gap in the front. I had to raise it up just so I don't rub on every curve that I go. I still rub a bit even at this height, but just because it was only when I go like really hard in the curves, so I tend to not go as hard. But I wish I would have gotten 14K in the front, just so the front wouldn't rub as much and I could go harder and lower. But you know, 12K is perfect for daily driving. This is really comfortable. I also have the S Sport sway bars. I also have on the front and rear, both of them. I also have the ISF power steering ECU, which makes the steering feel heavier, especially when you put it in the ETC power mode. In the ISF, it changes. It makes the steering wheel feel heavier when you put that on. You turn it off, if you put in sport mode or not in the ISF. And this car does the same thing. In the stock form, this car doesn't do that. But with the ISF power steering ECU, it does that. I had the 2011 and 2012 power steering ECU. I also have the ISF steering dampener, which is just it's just a weight that goes into the car, into the steering wheel. I mean, it helps. It doesn't really do much, but for $30, it doesn't hurt. It's an easy mod to install too. And also have this, what makes the biggest difference. I mean, besides the coilover, the stock suspension is not meant for taking corners hard. But the biggest difference was these S4 seats. The stock seats from 2006, they do not grip you at all. The bolster on them sucks. These hold you in way better. You feel like you're with the car with these seats. I have the full S4 seats, the front and rear. So I have that's the driver's side. This is the back, and then the passenger side, same thing as the driver. These seats feel amazing in the corners. As soon as I put them on, I change them out. Like, I noticed a big difference. And these seats just bolts up, but they're not plug and play necessarily. They are plug and play. I didn't really modify them. I didn't do anything to make them work. Driver's seat works perfectly fine without having to modify it. It's the passenger seat where you have the issue with an airbag. There's no airbag light on the dash, but the passenger won't have an airbag because the passenger seat can't recognize when a passenger is sitting down. But like I said, there's no airbag light on the dash. It's just that it just won't have an airbag. Which, I mean, for like 95% of the time I drive by myself. So for me, it isn't a big deal. But maybe some of you guys, you guys have a passenger, your wife, your girlfriend, your brother, whatever. That may be worrisome for you. Oh, and also the last handling mod I have done is the RCF lower control arm bushings. I mean, I guess it's not really a handling mod. It didn't really improve handling much. It just improves the inner tire wear, makes it so it's not as bad as stock ones. I mean, as everyone knows, the stock ones are pretty bad when it comes to inner tire wear. These tires, they last me. It's not as bad. I mean, they still do inner tire wear, but it's nowhere near as bad as the stock ones. Alright, now for aesthetics mods, I mean, I have Advance RZ I or 2, I don't know how you would say it, and all wrapped around Michelin Pilot Sport 4S, all around. In the fronts, the specs are 18 by 9 plus 35, and the rear are 18 by 9.5 plus 45. The fitment, I mean, I got these used. The fitment is pretty good. I'm not gonna say it's horrible, but I mean, I used to have Westport's TC 105X, and that fitment was like on point. Which they were 18 by 8.5 plus 32 in the front, and 18 by 9.5 plus 35 in the rear. That one was like on point, like pretty flush in my opinion. These have like a very similar design, but I think the color on these are just way much better. Although they're like a pound or two heavier, which kind of sucks for performance, but just it's worth it at this point, just the way, because the color on these just pop. I also have VLAN's headlights. This was like the first mod I did to my car, the headlights. I mean, a lot of people complain about the light output, but they're not that bad as long as you adjust them properly. I mean, the high beams, they suck, I'll admit that, but the low beams, they're not bad. Just you gotta adjust them. Some people don't even adjust them and they just start complaining about the light output. They don't come adjusted properly from factory, so you gotta just do them yourself. I have a black roof wrap just to make it like, you know, a black and I used to have a black and silver theme. Like the Westports were kind of dark. I used to have black mirror covers. The roof was black. The VLAN headlights, they have like a black housing. I used to have like a carbon fiber front lip. They look black pictures. I have, so yeah, and then I have also carbon fiber side skirts. And then also, I used to have carbon fiber rear spats, the one that goes right here. But one of them fell off on the freeway, and I just took off the other one. There was no point of keeping it. Because I mean, it looked weird. One side looked nice and the other side didn't have anything. Let's see, what else for aesthetic. Also, I painted my calipers blue and put a Lexus decal on it. I got the caliper paint from G2 paint kit. It was just a brush on. You don't really need to mask off anything like you would with a spray can, but you know, you put some tape on some rubber places that you know you don't want to get paint on, and it came out looking good. It took me like a couple hours because it was mostly waiting, to be honest. You gotta wait for the paint to dry to do another coat. I used to have VLAN taillights. I sold them. Now I put back the stock ones, and I mean, they're pretty cool. I really love the VLAN taillights, but these are pretty cool. So I have a carbon fiber ducktail. I plastic dipped my emblems. I was planning on taking them off, but then once I started like putting it off, I started with holes underneath them. I guess like 2006, 2008 or something like that. They had holes to line them up properly. So you know, I didn't want to deal with having a visible hole, so I just decided, you know, instead of leaving them the stock, you know, in the chrome finish, I just plastic dipped them black. Makes it look better, and I mean, you could deal with it. I don't have a carbon fiber diffuser, or I don't have a diffuser at all. I thought about getting one, but I just like the clean, simple look that these give without having a diffuser looks. It's very just simple and clean. Also, I also didn't want to deal with drilling a hole in the bumper to make it fit properly. As we all know, like most diffusers for these cars, they don't even fit nice unless you want to spend like $1,000. You want to get like a good one, especially I wanted one that was carbon fiber, and there wasn't really many options for that. I used to have carbon fiber all around, like the front lid, side skirt, the carbon rear spat. I wanted just to match it around with carbon fiber, but I couldn't find any for the diffuser that was carbon fiber. But yeah, I mean, that's basically all the mods I've done to this car. I mean, I've done more. Like I've removed them, I sold them. There's been a couple things I've removed and sold. Like right now, it doesn't have PPE headers. I just removed them a couple days ago, and right now I still have them at my house, but I'm just waiting for the buyer to come pick them up. Like they're already sold. I used to have the F-Sport rear chassis brace that goes like right here. I used to have it. That made the car rear feel really planted. But I only took it off because it was like banging up against my exhaust. And once I figured out that was the one I was like making a clunky noise, I removed it. And I sold it because I didn't want to deal with it having a clunk. I don't know why that started happening. I'm thinking an exhaust hanger is like loose or stretched out or something, making it hang low. I thought about doing it, but I don't want to change the exhaust hangers. Like I said, I used to have the VLAN taillights. I sold that. I used to have, since this is a 2006, you actually can't turn off traction control by pushing the button like you can in the 2007 and newers IS350s. So after searching up online for a bit, long time ago, I searched that you could change the skid ECU to a 2007 IS350 ECU, or there's only it's only for 2006 IS350s. This is only relevant to those cars. But if you can find one that's a 2007 IS350 ECU, and then you put it in this car, it's plug and play, and you could be able to turn off traction control by holding on the button like you can in 2007 in yours IS350s. But if you don't have that as a stock one, like right now I have back to stock one, I have to do what is called the pedal dance. I mean, you can search up on YouTube how it's done if you want to learn how to completely turn off traction control. So yeah, that's basically all the mods I've done to this car. I mean, in mods I probably spent more in just mods than the car its cost itself, which is kind of crazy to just think about. But I mean, this car has been an enjoyment to have. Every time every time I drive it, I turn it on, and it just brings a smile to my face. I've had so many different exhaust setups on this car. If you guys want to hear all the exhaust setups I've had, you just look at my channel. I posted a video of flybys, revs, basically almost every exhaust setup I've ever had. So you want to hear all of them that I've had, you go ahead and just watch my other YouTube videos. But yeah, this car is, as far as I'm aware, the fastest naturally aspirated IS350 in the world. All it took was for me to have an S-Sport intake. This is the mods I've had when I got those fastest times. Right now, with the Josie exhaust, when I had the Josie exhaust and PPE headers, I tried to get my fastest time. I couldn't do it for some reason. I didn't understand why, because I know the Josie exhaust is like the best exhaust for performance. So I don't know why I couldn't do it. But when I did when I got my fastest times, the exact mods that I had done was the S-Sport intake, Make It Racing Midpipe, and S-Sport exhaust. I had the RR Racing tune. I removed all the seats except for the driver's seat, and I put 830 blend. That gave me my fastest time in all categories of the quarter mile, 8 miles, 60 to 130, and 0 to 60. I'll put all the times in the description in case you missed it. I could just write it all down, the exact times. I believe those, what I said earlier in the video, I believe that's like close to accurate, like the exact times I've got. But yeah, and this is all the stuff I've done, the timestamps I've told you guys. And yeah, I mean, some of you guys may know me from Instagram mostly, Busta_IS350. So yeah, and this is all the stuff I've done, and thanks for watching.